Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have hired my first couple of stylists without your help, for sure.
All right, guys, so today I'm in Destin, Florida, visiting one of my clients, Savannah. She runs Savannah Beauty here in Destin, Florida. If you want to quickly introduce yourself, and then I've got some really awesome topics we're going to cover.
Sure. I'm Savannah St. Jean. I own Savannah Beauty. I'm originally Canadian and had moved here approximately 5 years ago. Wanted a fresh start. Thought that I'd skip the snow and choose the sunshine for a little change.
I can relate to that, being in Alaska. It's been paradise here. Anyways, the reason I wanted to bring her on the podcast is, since I started working with her 3 years ago, I've watched her grow tremendously. And she's got multiple people under her, and that's one of the topics I get asked about a lot is, how do you manage a team? How do you grow a business to, have multiple people? Because a lot of you I know are solo, but you might have the, intention or aspiration to have multiple people on your team. And so that's why I kind of wanted to pick her brain and help you guys out with those topics. So I guess we'll start out. Can you kind of just briefly describe like who works here and who you have here?
Sure. When I first opened up the salon, it was obviously a solo gig, like probably most of you guys. You're kind of doing all the things. You're carrying all the job duties. And at one point, it became too heavy for me to handle. So the clients were coming in really heavy and really strong. I couldn't keep up. So I hired another hairstylist to help me out, to help take my overload. That went so successful that they were as equally busy as I, and that was when we had to grow the team with yet another hairstylist, but then also a front desk support team member just to help navigate all the phone calls and emails and Facebook messages, and the list goes on and on. So that's kind of how we grew to that level, and then once we got there, it was smooth sailing, and we are continuing to add to the team. I currently have 3 hairstylists, and I am hiring another 4 staff members currently, because our growth is so strong and so heavy that we are continuously needing more and more help.
So that's one thing about Destin. It's like a very touristy place. So how do you find, how do you recruit people in a market like this?
Ironically, probably 95% of our clientele are locals. So even though we're in a destination city, we really don't target the tourists, which business sense wise is easier for us to grow if we have more locals. If you're focusing on tourism, you are constantly looking for the next client.
Yep.
Whereas if you've got locals, once you've won them over, you don't have to continually market to try to keep them on your books. So when it came to trying to find staff members locally, that was tricky. But once you start getting the reputation for your own business, your clients love you so much that they almost do most of the marketing for you, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, so-and-so, you really need to go and see if you can work at this place because it's so awesome and I love that person. Sometimes blindly looking for staff, it's really difficult. You don't know what you're going to get, and you don't know what kind of personality you're going to attract. So if your clientele are along the same lines as you and your personality and your work ethic and the kind of environment that you want to have as your business, they will send the same sort of vibing people your way.
That's awesome. So yeah, in these situations, I feel like, the feedback I get from salon spa owners is that to build that culture and build that team, it's like the biggest challenge.
It is.
So, and managing people, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, what do you feel like the best tips for that is?
Even if you are crying yourself to sleep at night because you're so busy and you can't keep up, do not hire people that aren't in line with your culture and with your personality and who you and your gut feel good about, because hiring the wrong person will destroy your business faster than you think. So it is best practice to hold out for the right client or the right staff member instead of hiring the first one that comes around because you're so desperate for help. You're better having no help than the wrong help.
So do you have like an application process or an interview process, or like how does that look?
Yeah, so they have to provide me with a resume. If somebody comes at me without a resume, it's a hard pass, hard no. I'm old school that way. You need to have a resume. I need to know who you are, what you've done. After that, if I like what I see and I've got a good feeling about what I see on paper, then I bring them in for an interview. And I'll be honest, the way I interview is very based on personality. The questions I'm asking they're not really important to me. I'm trying to see their energy, see their personality, see if we're connecting, because if I can't get along with them and I can't relate to them and have a conversation with them, I don't want to work 10, 12-hour days with them. It's not going to be good for the culture. I want to come in excited to see the people that I see every day. So my interviews are really based on personality and connection. And once I've done that, then I go through how I felt about all the candidates and I choose the one that I feel would be the best fit for the culture.
Okay. So I noticed that, sometimes you take your team on like trips and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that just kind of like an added bonus, like tax write-off, or is it just fun?
It is. I mean, it is, instead of an annual year-end bonus or a really boring Christmas party dinner that no one really cares about, bonuses usually end up going to bills and like nothing fun, and you kind of totally forget about it. So we tried to kind of step out of the box in that way, and instead of Christmas bonuses and a boring dinner, we opted to annually take everybody on a really fun, cool, staff-only trip. So spouses and family members and boyfriends, not allowed. It's staff only, and it's a way for us to build our relationship with each other and our friendship and our connection, and turn our work environment into a family environment, I guess is a good way to say it, and create memories together. And that has been wildly successful. Everyone loves it.
So do you have 1099 contractors here or employees?
Nope, I've got W-2 employees.
Okay. I know with some states like California, you're not even allowed to have contractors anymore.
That's true.
Is that the same in Florida, or is it you just choose employees for,
It's a very gray area. At one point, I was looking at the differences between booth rental and the commission W-2 structure. And, I just felt it would be way too difficult to have so many business owners, so many different businesses being run under the same roof. It's really hard to create the right culture with that, because you don't have really any say over pricing, over the music that's playing. Everyone's kind of wanting to go in a different direction. And so I was really able to guide my team and create the environment that I wanted to in my business by going W-2, and that way I have a little bit more ability to guide the team that way.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about marketing now. What would you say has been the best, your favorite platform, whether it be Facebook, Google, Instagram?
Well, every platform kind of has a certain clientele that gravitates to it. So I find like Instagram will attract a much younger crowd. Same with TikTok. Facebook attracts more middle-aged or, in 30s. Those kind of age groups kind of go to Facebook. So every single platform has its place in my business, right, because we kind of service all of those. But the one that I've seen to get most traction from would be Facebook.
Okay. Do you guys have a TikTok?
We don't for the business, but each of the stylists have a personal business TikTok, so they'll do little marketing tactics for themselves on it.
Is that something you like coach them or guide them on how to do, like, you know, different marketing things, or do they just kind of do it on their own?
I have one of my employees who manages our Instagram for us, but that is with some help of mine. I'll kind of guide her with the look that we want the board to have, and I'll create like any Canva promotions or images on that front, and then she kind of runs with it and runs with the guide.
So with your front desk person, what are kind of their roles and responsibilities for you?
There are support systems, so they're responsible for all of the phone calls and voicemails and emails and Facebook messages, Instagram messages. They are responsible for any rescheduling that needs to get done, the cleanup. If one of us is running behind, they've got to call the next clients to make sure that no one's waiting long term for us to finish up with the client in the chair. Just overall maintaining the entire space and helping us maintain all of our clients.
Okay, and do you have one person or just multiple?
I do. I have one person, full-time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then, so like, for example, if someone messages at like 7 p.m., you just let them wait till the next day?
If they message the Facebook page, I'm a workaholic, so often I'll be sitting on my sofa late at night and I'll respond to all those messages as they come in, just to help alleviate the wait time for them all.
Right.
But yeah, our goal is absolutely under 24 hours for sure, ideally under 12 hours for them to wait for a reply if it's after hours.
Okay. Do you find that, you know, having a referral program or anything like that is helpful? I'm not sure if you have one.
We don't have a traditional referral program, but I will say that word of mouth is everything. And so without us even having a program, if you blow your clients' minds, they will tell all of their friends. And it's a referral program that you don't even have to really manage. It just happens.
Okay. All right, so one of my favorite parts of your story is you contacted me when you came from Canada, and this was a totally new area for you. You didn't know anyone, and then which I know other people in that same situation. So that's why I think sharing this will really help them.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, what do you feel like, besides not knowing anyone? What do you feel that was the biggest challenge with that?
The biggest challenge was making people notice you, because you move into a new town and you're just one of many, and people are like, I don't know, that's the new place with the new girl that no one knows. And you know, I moved from a very large city. I moved from Vancouver, British Columbia, to a very small town. Even though we've got a ton of people in and out of this town, the number of residents that we have here is very low. So you're coming into an area where you're nobody unless somebody knows you. Right. So that was probably the most difficult thing, is meeting people, building friendships with them and relationships with them so that they knew that they could trust you and you weren't just one of many that was gonna up and go in a heartbeat. That was probably my biggest struggle when I moved here. And the other struggle was because I moved so far, the culture in this area versus what I was used to is very different. And so I really had to learn how to communicate with people here and, you know, how to relate to them. And so there was a learning curve with that, understanding what personalities I wanted in here, because I wasn't going to get West Coast downtown Vancouver. That's not where I'm at anymore. So there was a lot of reflection on what I wanted the energy to be in the salon, and then streamline my site onto who I wanted to hire to enter the zone.
Yeah, to be honest, like your testimonial was like, and this was back in what, 2018, 2019, I don't remember the exact year, but yours was like one of my favorites. I think I still have it on my sales page where, like it's cool to see this place in person because you were literally walking around when you had just bought the place and talked about, because I helped you get, with the recruiting and stuff like that. So I just, it's cool to be here, after seeing it for all those years.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have hired my first couple of stylists without your help for sure, because I was having a hard time attracting the right people. So it was really only with her help that I was able to get those people in the space, and that's how we built so quickly.
Yeah, there's a few people out there that claim that all my testimonials are fake.
No,
well,
it's not.
Here's a real human being. You can look her up on Google Maps.
Yes, you can look me up. Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to managing a team. What do you feel like the biggest struggles are with that?
When I first started managing others, I think my biggest struggle was setting boundaries and knowing like what would be acceptable and what wouldn't be acceptable in my space. I tend to brush a lot of things off because I hate confrontation. So I don't want to have those awkward discussions with staff members, but not having those discussions with staff members is a huge mistake, which I learned. You need to guide your team. Like, as uncomfortable as it is, you've got to give them direction and you've got to let them know and lead them to being able to portray the right culture in your space. So if they're coming in late every day, and even though it may not be a big deal because it's not really interrupting business, it's still probably a standard that you need to lay down, because if all of the other staff members are seeing someone come in late every day, but they're always on time, there's going to be bitterness amongst your team. So that's just one example. Every manager will have their own limits on what they'll deem acceptable and what they'll deem unacceptable. And once you've made up your mind about what that is, you've got to stick with it. You don't have to speak to them roughly about it. I really don't speak abrasively, even when it's a conversation that needs to happen. It's with kindness, and it's just like, there's an issue. I do need to address it. If we can please work on this, because this is becoming an issue, and I just want to make sure that we're all aware of what the expectations are in our space. And it doesn't need to be anything brutal, but as long as you've said what you need to say and they understand that what they're doing is unacceptable at that period, then they've given the opportunity to change before you have to make a change for them.
Okay, so that's a little bit about discipline. How do you motivate people to really, always be their best?
You've got to acknowledge when they've done something fantastic and when they've done a great job. I think 90% of what I speak to my employees is positivity and kudos for all the great things that they're doing. You have to acknowledge it. If all they ever hear is negativity, then that's the air that you're going to have in your space. If all you speak is positivity, they're going to want to do even more amazing things, and your space is going to be filled with positivity. So that's the biggest motivator. Nobody feels terrible after receiving a compliment on their work. They feel great, and if they feel great, they're going to do more great.
That's awesome. Because I've seen that people, everybody thinks it's about the benefits and the money, but a lot of times just like a, attaboy or attagirl, and just that little compliment or encouragement just goes miles.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I see you have products over here. Do you have like a Shopify site, or do you just sell these, in store?
We do not. It's in store only. A lot of the hair brands don't permit online selling, just for diversion's sake. So, it is in salon only.
Okay. So when let's say you have someone in your salon seat, do you ever try to upsell the products, or do you just have them there just in case?
No, we definitely try to upsell, but we're not aggressive with that either. Really, our culture is that we don't really want to force a product into somebody's hand who doesn't want or doesn't need the product. So what we'll do is we just use the products that we think is best for them and their hair, and always let them know what we're using on them. And without that heavy sales tactic, we move a lot of product just because they don't feel the pressure and they're like, oh, I really loved that shampoo and conditioner. That was so nice and it made my hair feel so nice. I'm gonna grab one of those, instead of us being like, you need these 3 products because I have this quota that I have to make. Some buy 5 products and then some buy 1 and some buy none. And that's okay, as long as we're letting them know what we're using on them and they're able to make their decision on whether they want it or not, then we're good.
So same thing with like, and I keep pointing over here to the chairs. So like when you got someone in the chair, do you ever say like, okay, you're getting your hair done. Do you want lash extensions, or do you teach your team to have that casually come up?
Yeah, I mean, most of our clients, they're made aware of the fact that we do offer services in the back. We offer lash extensions and waxing services, and we'll often talk about hair treatments that could benefit them. You know, we live in a very humid environment, so frizz is crazy around here. So a lot of our clients will talk to you about getting a Brazilian blowout. That's a huge seller for us here because women just, you can't combat the frizz any other way, really. So we get a lot of upselling done just with that, and we really just kind of customize what we're talking to our clients about based on what we think that they would actually really benefit from. And so it's never just a because situation. It's there's a reason behind it, and here's our reason, and you know, if you're interested, kind of thing.
So last but not least, let's talk about social media content. Do you guys do like I know we mentioned TikTok earlier, do you do like Instagram Reels or any kind of like videos?
Yeah, we do a lot of Reels, and those are probably our most viewed social media post of all. So people love them, they're super cute, they're easy to do. We usually take videos of each other without us knowing it so that we don't get the awkward face. And all the girls are kind of on board. They just know like, oh my gosh, look at what Natalie's doing. Let's take a cute little video of it. Or, oh, Kylie's doing this amazing blonde. Let's videotape it. So we definitely just have each other's back, and it's all about celebrating each other's work. Essentially, once we get those videos, then the staff member that puts together all of our social media, her name is Kylie, she'll kind of throw it together for us because she's the most solid at it. And those things get a ton of traction. So definitely do the Reels.
Good to know. All right, so I know I said the last question was the last, but I wanted to bring this up because I think so many people don't even think about this when they're just starting out and they're just trying to get clients and they just want to make money. But, you know, what are your future plans with this? I know you're looking to hire more people, but are you, obviously we can't do something forever. So do you want to create a sellable business, or have you thought about that?
Yeah, so right now we're filling the team up. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be hiring 4 more team members to join us. And then also in the interim, we are actively searching for a location for a second salon. It will be the same brand, Savannah Beauty. We're searching for that. Once that opens, we're hoping for the east side of 30A, so like Inlet Beach or Rosemary Beach or Alice Beach. So we're going to be trying to find a great space for that, but I'm pretty picky on the space that I would choose for that, so there's nothing worse than being in the wrong space. so we're taking our time on that one.
What spaces what do you look for in a space?
I look at my neighbors. I want to make sure that the neighboring businesses are in line with what I want my business to be known for and want my business to be associated with. So, I'm looking for upscale neighbors. I'm looking for, companies that have the same energy, the same culture as I. And, I want to make sure it's easy for my clients. So I want to make sure that there's ample parking. I don't want to be in a really old rundown building. Appearance is everything. And you have to remember that. People drive by and they will judge your business before even stepping foot in it based on the outside appearance. and your area. So you have to be really, really picky about it. So once we find the right space, we'll open up another salon location and fill that. And at that point, I should be able to scale back my books myself and continue on with running the businesses as I see fit.
And I think that's the goal a lot of entrepreneurs get to is, or want is, like you said, scaling back the own work that you're doing so that you can scale up, the income producing opportunities. And, it's fun running a business. It can be addicting and just, getting more businesses and stuff. And so I love to see that growth.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I remember 3 years ago when you had just moved down here.
Yeah. I mean, and we grew fast. We grew really fast, and it does happen fast. I remember there was like one moment where I was like, oh man, we're still in the negatives. And it was mere months, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making a lot of money. And it just takes just a little bit, just a little tweak, and your numbers go up, and then it's your profit goes up from there, and it just gets better and better and better.
Awesome. Well, those were some great topics, so thank you for sharing that with the audience.
No problem.
I guess my last question would be if there's somebody on the fence with starting their own business, or maybe they're discouraged because they're not doing great the first couple months, what advice or encouragement would you give to them?
Like I said, it happens really fast. And so listen, business ownership is defeating some days. Even still, as successful as my business is, there are some days where I feel very defeated. You gotta kind of push through that. This is a mental thing. And it's like starting to exercise. No one likes starting to exercise, and you want to give up really bad, but you have to just power through it and fight through the tears and fight through the struggles, because at the end of it is great. It's fantastic. It's freeing. It's a lot of freedom. Yeah, it's great for your self-esteem when you can do it. So power through. You got it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, she is a great role model. So where can they follow you on Facebook or Instagram?
Yeah, our Instagram account is Savannah R Beauty, and Facebook, you can find us as Savannah Ray Beauty.
Awesome. And I'll put those links below. All right, great. Well, thank you so much. And it's wonderful to meet you in person.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.